Now, I think I got it. Let's look at the app, Hot Towel, the running app.
Sure.
So if I want to translate, I mean, we did a lot of stuff, but we kind of just walked through this slowly. There's one thing I think we skipped over a little, or at least I felt like we skipped over.
Yeah.
And that's, you had this messages. And it says messages here. At least I think it's what it says. Those messages should say like 72 messages.
Right. It
Or
should say
one
the
message. Or how did you do that? How do we make that work?
Sure. So that's going back to what we were talking about earlier, the message formatting. It's using this particular library.
Because I felt like that worked at one point and then it stopped. So did we do something there?
Yeah. So let's go back to the code. And we want to actually...
Oh, we switched to using the JSON files, right? So that's where our message format is defined, is in the EN JSON?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we go back to that, we want to use actually the message count key now. Before we were using messages.
Okay.
And that's when we switched over to these files now, instead of the ones that we had hard-coded in config earlier. It's referencing just messages now and not injecting the actual number anymore.
So you actually created two keys here just for demonstration.
Correct, yeah.
So we would actually not even need line 14 at all, but line 17 we're going to use that key and kind of walk through what that syntax means for me.
Sure. So it's following the message format standard. This first item is the actual variable that's going to come in with the value. So that would be, in this case, it's like 0 messages, or well, 0 for the 0 messages, 1 to 72, something like that.
Right.
And then you tell message format that you want to pluralize it.
Is that for plural site?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then you tell these are the options that it can use based on the value of message count.
Those are some funky options.
Yeah.
Equals 0. That makes sense. So if, I assume that means that the first value, message count, is equal to 0, show no messages?
Yep.
If it equals ONE, okay, why ONE, not the number 1?
To be honest, I'm not very familiar with all the message format syntax, but I believe these are just options that it knows how to handle, that when the value is equal to that, it will just use that.
So that means go use 1. Maybe equals 1 will work, who knows?
Yeah.
And then other is like the else. Otherwise show just, is that just show hard-coded the hash messages?
Well, what it'll do then is it'll plug in, it'll replace the hash with the value.
Okay.
I think.
I got you. So so this one here and the first one, it equals 0 is going to say the word no messages.
Right.
Second one's going to say 1 message.
Yeah.
But technically, I guess you could have put the hash there too, right?
Exactly, yeah, we could.
Okay. Might work, I'm guessing.
But we'll go back to what it was.
And then the last one's going to replace the hash with the number and put the word messages.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a different syntax. It's not, I was looking at this like it was Angular expressions, but it's really not. It's its own little syntax.
Right.
Okay. So how do we flip that over? We now change the key, right?
Yes. So we need to go into the dashboard HTML. This is where I should use Command P again, right?
Yes, Command PP. There you go.
And we'll say translate and message count.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, it should be. Let's go back and look just to be safe. Command PP. Nope, that's not it. Command P, EN JSON. Message count.
Yep, you got it. All right, so now if we flip between languages, we should be good?
Yes. So we should go to the app.
Okay, get rid of this developer tools thing.
Sure.
That's not good.
Nope, we're actually missing one more thing.
Okay, because I certainly don't want it to say that.
No. So in the dashboard HTML again, we need to also add
like a format thing you talked about earlier?
translate, yes. Translate format, I believe it is. Actually, I'm going to have to double check on that one.
Okay. Is that where you did like translate format dash name or something like that earlier?
Right, but in this case, we're going to pass in the object. And in that object, it'll know to bind the VM value of, because we're getting that data from the controller in here, right? Message count equals 0. So we need to bind that into the view still.
So because right now it doesn't know where the message count is.
Right. So we're going to actually say translate values.
Okay.
And then it equals, and then message count, which is that key that we're using. and pass in the actual message count value that we're getting back from the
All right.
controller.
I was wondering about that because we have to somehow get the value from the controller into here. So that's how we do that.
Yes. So let me bring this over so it's back in view. So we're not quite done yet either. We need to go and tell...
But wait, there's more.
Yes. We need to go back and tell Angular Translate that we're using the message formatter.
Okay. How do we do that?
We do that through .use... let's get rid of this ugly commented code for now real quick. Clean this up.
I'm sure it's not something simple like use message formatter.
No. It's, we want to, tab, there we go. Use missing translation, no, that's not it. It's add interpolation, did I say that right?
I think so.
Translate message format interpolation.
Your typing skills are so good now. I don't think you want to send
No,
them
we
on
do
there.
not want that.
Yeah.
We're changing those.
Sweet. So we had to do that to tell it to use that thing.
Yep.
And then go back to your HTML. We had to add in the message count, which we data bound to property called message count. And was it important that we called message count the key message count there?
Yes.
Why? What's matching that?
That has to match the through message format.
Oh, that's in the EN-JSON?
And the EN-JSON has to match so that it knows what to key off of.
Gotcha. So the value, the v in the message count, was the value in the controller, and then that matches the message count key, which which matches the message count here, which matches the key for the translation.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha. It actually makes sense. It's just a lot of matching. So if we refresh, will it work?
No. Let's dig into that more.
Okay. So let's see what else we missed here. So you're telling me we've used that guy. We already loaded him, right?
Yes. Let's double check. So something else that needs to be done too, actually, is index HTML. And I was taking for granted that I've done this, had this preloaded, some of this stuff. Message format has to be there. So that's something else that we should call out.
Right. We need message format.
And then part of the problem with using message format is the syntax that it's using with the curly braces. It could interfere with the syntax that Angular is used to using for binding this stuff.
Okay.
So we pull in Angular Translate interpolation message format to tell it to,
Okay.
so that we can add that particular directive to that particular element and tell it to only apply or to escape out of the usual Angular Translate bindings and use message format for this particular element.
Okay, because I was wondering about that because you're using the curly braces there, so it's getting confused.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So what we can do for that, if you can go back to, what we can do for that is go back to the dashboard. There's another directive we can add on here called translate.
So we're already using the interpolation because we added it in the scripts, we put it in the config,
Yes.
and now we have to tell it, for this particular thing, we need to use the interpolation.
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot of stuff to tell it, but I guess if it lets you do these formatting, now we get 72 messages, that works.
Yeah.
Can you go to Spanish, make sure that works too?
Sure.
Let's push it, man.
72 mensajes.
All right. Sí,
See?
muy bien.